But that was May the 13th of 2004. And could you briefly and painfully relive that for us, how it unfolded?
Oh, man. I mean, it looked good for the Spurs after Tim Duncan hit that shot. Man.
Yeah.
I was in disbelief. It was probably the lowest scoring game in the playoffs.
It was. The final score was 74-73.
Yeah, we were up by 13 or 14 points at some point. Spurs make a run.
And then Duncan makes like this fall away from almost the,
and it was the best defense.
I don't think it banked. I think it went straight on. I looked at it this morning.
I feel like it may have banked in.
I think so, too.
It was crazy.
Because that's what you said, one lucky shot. Shaq said one lucky shot.
But that was the best defense Shaq played the whole series.
No, he got out on him. He was all over him. I agree. But he dismissed your shot as lucky, and I don't think it was lucky.
No, well, I'll take luck if that's what it was. But
because Ginobili is all over you, man.
But what's funny though, Skip, is it was not until I saw a still photo after the fact that I knew Ginobili was in my face like that.
Really?
Because my eyes were only on the rim.
Wow.
I did not see him at all.
So when it left your hand, did you think good?
I thought it was long. I knew it was right on line, but because I was fading back, I guess instinctively I put extra touch on it. But I thought, I was like, oh, man, I shot that ball way too hard. It's going to go over the basket.
And then you took off running because you probably thought it might have been a little after the buzzer?
No.
No?
Was that shot called for you? I mean, you got Kobe on there, who's one of the all-time big shot takers and makers. Yeah. Was that play called for you?
No. The ball always goes to, most situations, Kobe. In this situation, with 0.4 seconds left, we're looking for Shaq at the rim first. Right. They covered that. Kobe went towards half court, and Robert Horry, instead of staying on the guy out of bounds, he went with Kobe, which opened up a passing lane for Gary Payton. So I'm just standing there behind Karl Malone, and I see this big gap in the open court.
Right.
And I just cut that direction.
And Gary Payton's inbound
threw it, and I knew I had to all in one motion. And I think also being a lefty, the clock operator is behind.
Right.
So the clock operator has to wait a split second to make sure that I've actually caught the ball.
Right.
So, to your credit, Skip, maybe it was 0.5. You got to give, 0.1 second to the clock operator.
So
but
maybe it helped that the play wasn't called for you because you didn't even have to think. It's just like react, just see it, feel it, shoot it, right?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I was used to the play not being called for me.
I would say on that team. Speaking of those Shaq-Kobe teams, Shaq said the other day, I think it was last week, that he believes the 0-1 team, which you knew very well, you're part of, that just swept through the playoffs, except Iverson got you the game one of the finals, but that team would beat this Golden State team. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that when I started to hear about them going back and forth, and I agree with Shaq, obviously, because I was on that team. So, of course, I feel like we could beat anybody. But I also agree with Steph that the debate of trying to compare eras and who's the greatest team, that's a hard thing for me to do. That's not the way my brain works. But I don't think people understand how hard Shaq was to cover.
Oh, I agree.
And when you think about the league as it is today, the league is designed for the perimeter players to get to the front of the basket. The hope is by them getting to the front of the basket, the defense will have to collapse, which then opens up the threes.
Right.
Shaq was the ultimate collapse the defense guy. So that left me, Rick Fox, Robert Horry, Brian Shaw, everybody like literally wide open most of the time. And so I like to think that Robert Horry at kind of that stretch four, Shaq at the 5. Rick Fox could guard a lot of people. Kobe could guard a lot of guys.
The question is, when you're dealing with errors,
yep.
How's the game? Is it going to be, are you playing in 2001 rules or are you playing in 2018? Because if you play with 2018 rules, y'all not winning.
No, I'm fouling out. I'm fouling out.
They shoot it too good. You're right, but Shaq, but they'll concede 2 for 3s.
Yes.
And I don't know if you can make enough 2-point shots to offset what they're going to do from the 3-point line.
Okay, but how would Golden State deal with the greatest offensive force I've ever seen, who was Shaquille O'Neal? And it wasn't pretty to watch, but it was just, what he did to Tim Duncan and David Robinson it wasn't the Western Conference Finals, but the semifinal.
Yeah.
He just ragdolled both of them. They couldn't handle him. They had no hope. It was a clean sweep. You just blew him off the floor.
Yeah, it would be an interesting matchup, but like you said, the rules, I don't know about that, man. We could not run up and down with these guys as fast as they play, the pace they play with. how fast they move without the basketball. Like, we would have a hard time not fouling out trying to keep up with the Warriors today. So I agree with both guys, basically.
So let's fast forward back to the present, and this guy named LeBron James has joined the Los Angeles Lakers, and you do commentary many nights on those games. What are you seeing so far in the Lakers, and what shot do you give them against Golden State potentially in the postseason?
I'm seeing up and down from the Lakers, which I think for a team that is forming, it makes sense. Young guys, injuries. I thought the suspensions kind of started to throw a little bit of, tough stuff kind of going on in their schedule. But based on the way the Western Conference is set up now, I don't see why they don't have a chance to maybe see the Warriors in the playoffs. They're as good as the other 6 or 7 teams that are fighting for the rest of those spots. I don't think they can beat the Warriors in the postseason, though. They might beat them on Christmas Day. There might be a good afternoon.
Right.
But a 7-game series, I'm not sure. Some of the things that are required to win a 7-game series, it takes a little bit of experience with each other to know, when the fire gets hot, I got to know which way Shannon, is he going to switch under pressure?
Right.
Or is he going to stick with the game plan and stay with his man?
Right.
And those are things that a new team sometimes needs some opportunities to go through.
The thing that concerns me is that I see happens a lot, is that they turn the ball over entirely too much and they shoot free throws poorly.
Yeah.
And I do not believe that you can be a serious playoff contending team if you turn it over. Because, they fall, if you look at the Wizards game on Sunday, okay, they have 6 turnovers in the first quarter. Well, that puts you down already by 10. Yeah. And then you have a couple of more, and now you're down, a 10 goes to 20, it goes almost to 30. The game's over.
Right.
And then when you stop the clock to go to the free throw line, you're missing. They were all up in arms about James Harden shooting all those free throws. The difference is James Harden did make the free throws that he went to the line to attempt, and you missed 13.
Right.
Why are you not upset about that?
Well, I think the shooting part, not just free throws, but also just perimeter shooting on a more consistent level, also is kind of an area where it may not be something that somebody else can just come in and do, but that they have to improve in doing. They have guys that are capable of making shots, but I also think it's continuing to find what ways of offense that they want to play to get those shots. Is it going to be just pace and, pushing the ball, or are we going to be able to execute some stuff to get high-quality shots in the half court also?
So we have become big fans of Kyle Kuzma.
Yes.
Could he become LeBron's, dare I say, co-star? Could he be that second star? Do you see that ceiling?
I think he's emerged as that this season so far. I think he has complemented LeBron's arrival as well as anybody else on the roster. I think at the beginning of the season, we all felt like Brandon Ingram had the best chance to do that because of his versatility. I think the suspensions kind of threw him off some. And I also think just finding where can I get mine on the court with LeBron out there 34 minutes, Kuz doing his thing. Rondo has the ball in his hands when he's there. Lonzo Ball has the balls as well. So B.I. kind of got a little bit lost in the shuffle, although he's capable. But for me, I do think that Kyle Kuzma has separated himself from the pack as a guy that's kind of second to LeBron, that every night you kind of know what you're going to get from him.
Which is what?
Which is probably 20 points, 6 rebounds. His assist numbers are increasing. There's a presence to his game.
There is.
Right? Like there's a swagger and a confidence, but he's also still trying to do that within the balance of, it's not just about me. 9 for 15, 8 for 17. We're not looking at Kuz getting 20 points on 6 for 20 shots and 6 free throws.
Right.
He's playing, I think, a well-balanced game, and I think he's trying to make good effort on the defensive end also.
And as a point guard, what do you see in Lonzo's development so far?
I think Lonzo, we talked about it the other night, he's in the curve in terms of turning the corner. He's on his way, I think, to understanding what his mentality needs to be every night as an NBA player.
More attack mode.
Yeah, I think he struggled with that early. And somebody mentioned to me the other day, he just played his 82nd game. So
rookie season.
He's basically just finished a full rookie season. And I think we're seeing the benefit of he's been healthy probably for the longest stretch of time he's been in the league. He's turning the corner. He's dunking the basketball. He's just more assertive and aggressive. And I know LeBron gets a lot of credit, but he should get credit for that as well. Because when you see his mentality, the way he comes to work every day, the way he prepares himself, the way he attacks and goes to the rim and doesn't settle for shots. I mean, that starts to rub off on guys, and I think they're all benefiting from his presence.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Rondo Hand is going to be healthy. Then what? Then what? Yeah, because we saw this early on when Rondo got suspended. We see Lonzo play major minutes, play well. Rondo comes back. Lonzo kind of sinks back into his shell. Now he's had, 10, 15 games to play alongside LeBron. Now that Rondo comes back, where do we go from here?
Great question. That's a great question. I think we'll have to see. It makes sense for a young player to struggle with that, though, because when the more freedom that he has to make mistakes and not be as concerned about
heading to the bench.
Yeah, I got a guy that can do the job really well that's sitting on the bench that the coach can go to. That's probably in the back of his mind at times, and that's totally understandable. But hopefully, this stretch of time, regardless of the minutes, that his approach to playing the game can be the same. So if it's not 36 minutes, but it's 26 minutes, well, I can still do all the same things that I've done in 36 minutes. It's just a little bit shorter, but still be aggressive, still attack the basket, just still go out there, be confident, and let it all hang out.
To me, here's the difference. Lonzo will play with LeBron, play off LeBron. Rondo, when he's on the floor, LeBron has to play with Rondo because Rondo's going to run the show in ways that Lonzo just defers. He'll do whatever he vibes off LeBron. You know, he'll just sort of feel it, and they're both so high-level gifted. Not that Rondo isn't, but Rondo's, when he comes out, he takes
needs the ball.
over.
Yeah. He can't play. Lonzo can play off the ball. Yeah. Rondo needs the ball. He can't play off the ball. He's a ball-dominant player. In order for him to be successful, he needs the ball. What's surprising to me, if you believe that Lonzo, if you believe Rondo was going to be the guy, this signing with Rondo was baffling to me. Yeah, why would you get a guy where he led the league in assists, he's a champion, and you want Lonzo to grow? Why would you put him in that situation?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, but I think that Lonzo has some off-season injuries. Okay. And I think they were a little bit uncertain at the beginning of the season. Yep. You know, if he's a little bit slow out of the gate, we need somebody, especially since we've signed number 23.
Right.
We can't take the chance of not being solid at that position. Right. But I also think that Rondo, at this point in his career, is also a really good mentor. And I think that Lonzo can benefit from seeing somebody that can dominate a game without being a great shooter of the ball. Okay. So I have an example now of a veteran guy that's been in the league, won a championship. I don't need to score for people to have to worry about me impacting the game. So I think that's another positive thing, but your point is a valid one. I think that question is going to come into play at the end of this season on whether or not to re-sign another quality guard like Rondo.
So, Derek Fisher is now the new head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. How did that come about?
Seriously?
Yes, that's what we heard. Is that true?
Yeah, man. No, I'm really, truly excited. I've been a fan of the women's game, of the WNBA, of the Sparks for a long time. I mean, since they came to L.A., basically, since the league started, I've been a fan. During the first couple years of championships that they won in 01 and 02, was right during the heyday of our three-peat years. And it just felt like L.A. was a basketball championship town. And so over the years, just in following the team, staying in contact off and on with the general manager, Penny Toller, her head coach resigned, and just we started having some conversation, and she said, look, if this is something you would consider doing, you know, there's an opportunity here for you. And they checked boxes for me. Strong ownership that is willing to do whatever it takes to win. Management with championship success. And 3 championships before I showed up. Penny Toller's done a fantastic job. And a roster that can compete to win right now. So regardless of gender, if I'm evaluating taking a coaching job, those are the boxes that I want to check. So I'm excited to have that.
It's really cool.
Way to go.